Hello everyone, welcome to BricsCAD Tip of the Month. Today we will see how to digitize survey data from a CSV file. So essentially the first thing I did here was that I created two layers, one to receive the data for the floor points and another one for the surface points. So in Engineering 1 in Promine, we have the survey module right here. And essentially what we're going to do first is that we're going to go into the options and configure our reception of the CSV file. So before doing that, as you can see here, I have my floor points. So I have my XYZ coordinates. And if I scroll a little bit to the bottom, I have my surface points as well. So I want to be able to import these data points in BricsCAD. So as I said, in the options of the survey module, we're going to select a survey type from the left-hand side here. So since we're dealing with CSV, we're going to click on that and then hit edit. And as you can see here, this is where you will configure your point code list. A point code is essentially a type of data point, right? So here I have floor and I have surface. I also have other points for stations, for example, that we're not going to use, but we're going to be focusing on floor and surface. So if I click on floor and then hit edit, I can see here that I can name this code. So it's floor. I can select a block for it. So from your config file in Promine, you can add as many blocks as you want to represent certain types of blocks. So for this one, I'm selecting prom serve floor. I can also add a scale and a layer suffix. This is important to essentially tell the program on which layer this specific code will go. And since I named one layer here, data floor, then all of my floor points will go on that layer and all my surface points will go on that layer as well. And the same thing for the surface as well. I named it surface, chose a block, selected a scale, and named my suffix. So once that's configured, I'm going to hit OK, OK again, and then click on Insert Job, again from the survey module. So now I will select the CSV type, hit OK, select my job, and then assign the fields here. So point code is 1, column 1. Point number, we don't have anything for that, so we're just going to select an empty column. East is 2, north is 3, elevation is 4, so that's XYZ. And on the right-hand side here, you'll see a preview of your file. So we have the point code, X, Y, Z, and then nothing else. The delimiters are a comma, and then hit OK. And then this will show you the preview of your data points that will be imported. You have some additional points at the bottom here, but for now, we're going to keep everything to default and hit OK. And once we do that, as we can see here, our digitized points are getting imported in BricsCAD. So once that's done, the program will ask us to insert a date. So this corresponds to today's date, just to identify your importation job. So we're actually going to just delete this date here and deal with this. So as you can see, we have our floor points represented in green. So it's this layer. And the surface points are in red, which is this layer here. Now that we have this, we're going to go to modeling. And then from the surfaces module, we're going to create two meshes for these data points, one for the floor and another for the surface using the triangulation method. So before doing that, I'm going to create two more layers to put those meshes on. So the first one will be mesh surface and another one mesh floor. The floor will be colored in yellow and the surface will be in, let's say, pink. So I'm just going to do it like this. All right. So now that we have our two new layers, we're going to click on Triangulate from the Surfaces module. And in here, we have a few things to do. So first is the object selection. Now, this is important because it will tell the program what type of objects that you want to select. So these are, although they're data points, but they're represented in blocks. So this is why we select blocks here. the from layer. So let's take the floor first, or you can simply pick a layer by selecting one object, and that will identify the layer. The triangulation object will be a mesh or 3D faces. 3D faces is mostly used when you want to manipulate the shape of your mesh afterwards, but in this case, we're going to keep it simple and select mesh. The destination will be mesh floor. I'm going to select the objects on screen and then keep the default specification method, which is the closest elevation point. Hit OK, select, hit enter, and as you can see here, we have our floor represented as a mesh. We're going to do the exact same thing for the surface. So again, triangulate. And here what I'm going to do, since we're dealing with the same options, we're going to select surface and then input on the mesh surface. Hit OK, select, enter, and there we have it. Now we have our surface represented as a mesh and our floor. So all this was done from our digitized CSV file. One thing we can do afterwards is to calculate the volume, which is very important in this case. So again, from the surfaces module, this command here, volume, allows you to compute the volume between two surfaces. So we're going to select that, choose a surface 1, so mesh surface, and surface 2, which will be mesh floor. Hit OK, and you'll have this window that will show you the volume below, above surface 1 and below. So surface 1 here, we're referring to the surface mesh. So as you can see, we have nothing on top, right? So that's why it's 0. And then below, we have this volume here. So this is the volume below until surface 2, which is the floor. We have this volume here in meters, units cubed. So this concludes today's BricsCAD tip of the month. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.